Hi, and welcome to another episode of It's Just Racing, hosted by Jim and Jim. I'm Jim.
And I'm Jim.
And we're here to talk about racing. Going to start off with the Xfinity Series at Worldwide Technology Raceway, which is not in St. Louis. It's actually in Illinois. It's not in East St. Louis, Illinois. It's in Madison, Illinois. It was really annoying throughout the entire broadcast. They just kept saying St. Louis, and on the TV it said St. Louis. It wasn't in St. Louis.
Well, when you go to the Milwaukee Mile, do you call it the West Dallas Mile?
No, but I don't call it the Michigan Mile. We're talking about a different state.
Okay, what about when you go to Madison International Raceway and it's in Oregon?
That's different.
That's a statement.
That's different. It's different, though.
I'm not upset about the name of the city.
So, we'll start off with Xfinity race. That was in Illinois. Believe it or not, Connor Zilich was on the pole. After a stout challenge from Nick Sanchez on the first lap, Zilich led every lap of the first stage. Was just about to take the checkers when Jordan Anderson blew a right front tire and hit the wall. This is his first time in a race car again since the fire.
Yeah, it's been a while for him.
And I think there was fire because he was rapidly trying to get out of the smoking car after he hit the wall. He's just got to stay out and be an owner. Although that's not working out the best for him either this year. But he was fine. Zilich wins stage one under caution. Had a little bit of a slow pit stop, so he restarted third. William Sawalich led the first 12 laps of stage two before losing the lead to Justin Allgaier, who won the caution-free second stage. Zilich regained the lead to start stage three. Allgaier actually had, I believe, a speeding penalty, and that booted him from first back to like 28th because he had to start at the end.
Those mental mistakes will hurt you.
Mental mistakes hurt me every day.
But you can't make those mistakes against someone like Connor Zilich.
No, you can't. Zilich led until a caution with 51 laps to go when another Jordan Anderson car blew a right front tire and hit the wall. This time it was Jeb Burton, which pretty much ended any hope he had of a miracle of making the playoffs. Zilich led at the restart until another caution 15 laps later for Harrison Burton, who was spinning. He was the last one in the playoffs. Him and Jeb were battling it out for the best of the worst. It's like nobody wanted to be the last one in the playoffs. So Harrison at least was able to keep going. Then there was a big wreck on the restart when Sheldon Creed, he lost third gear. So he went from second to third and there was nothing there. So instead of going to fourth and just being kind of slow, he shifted back into second and basically brake checked the entire field, stacking everybody up. Chaos ensued. 10 cars were wrecked. Good job, Shelley. I call him that because we're close personal friends, me and Sheldon. Anyhow, Zilich led the restart, but a caution came out right away for debris. Somebody didn't tape their crap back together properly and it fell off. Connor Zilich still led at the next restart, and it stayed green. He won his fourth in a row and ninth of the year. That is an Xfinity record, correct?
Yes, a rookie
last
record.
week was a record too, wasn't it?
Yes, he extends the rookie record.
So, interestingly enough, I believe this happened last week too. There were rookies first, second, and third.
Yeah.
So Zilich, William Sawalich, and Christian Eckes. Finally, Xfinity is in the playoffs. So our playoff drivers. Zilich, obviously, in first with Allgaier in second. Sam Mayer third. Jesse Love fourth. Brandon Jones fifth. Sammy Smith, who did re-sign for another year at Junior Motorsports, sixth. Nick Sanchez, Taylor Gray, Carson Quapple, Sheldon Creed, Harrison Burton, And last is Austin Hill because he had all of his playoff points stripped when he was intentionally wrecking people a couple months ago for fun. So NASCAR took all his playoff points away. So he's actually behind Harrison Burton. So, who's the first four out?
First four? I mean, Harrison Burton.
Yeah, I concur.
I'm thinking Taylor Gray.
Okay.
I'm also going to go with Sheldon Creed and Brandon Jones.
I agree with Brandon Jones. I'm going to say, I'm going a little high up. I'm going Brandon Jones and Sammy Smith. I'm actually going to say Harrison Burton also and Nick Sanchez. Those are my first four out for the Xfinity. You'll note nobody took notes, so we'll all forget what was said. And now we go Formula One racing.
Yeah, Formula One back in Italy.
Ah, the homeland.
It's always exciting in Italy.
The Temple of Speed.
Yep, they were at Monza.
And it was the Temple of Speed this weekend, was it not?
It was. Max Verstappen started out strong. In qualifying, he set the fastest ever lap in Formula One history.
Yay, Max.
So he was obviously starting on pole with both McLarens behind him. Before we got started, Nico Hülkenberg, unfortunately, he had to retire on the formation lap. Later we found out it was a hydraulic issue. So unfortunate for the Hulk. Couldn't get going at Monza.
Probably better to find it out then than after the race started and break something.
Yeah, you never want to wreck, so.
But you don't want to not start the race either.
At the start of the race, Lando got a good start. Max actually had to cut the first chicane. Turn one's always chaotic, just because it's a real tight chicane after a high-speed section. Luckily, there were no crashes this time. Unlike if you saw any of the Formula 2 highlights, it was a wreck fest in the feeder series. Luckily, the Formula 1 guys drove through turn one much better.
Well, they are supposed to be the best drivers in the world, they say, right?
They are. But Max had to cut the chicane, and he kept the lead, which that would come into play a little bit later. But right away, Charles Leclerc, your buddy in the Ferrari, trying to defend his win from last year. I know you were excited because he started in the same starting position.
He did. He won from fourth last year, and he qualified fourth this year.
He passed Oscar Piastri right away, so it was looking good for him. But then Oscar got it back in turn two. And then Max had to give the spot back to Lando, so he had to give up the lead because he would have got a penalty for cutting that chicane.
From at the first turn right away.
Yeah. So then Oscar tried to make a move on Max while he was off the gas.
That sounded kind of homosexual. You said Oscar tried to make a move on Max.
On the It's Just Racing podcast, we just talk about racing. Anyways, Oscar tried to pass Max, but Max didn't. He closed the door, and then Charles got right past Oscar. So there was a lot of exchanging positions on the first lap.
It was an exciting first lap. It was actually a good race to watch.
It was exciting. I enjoy Formula One at Monza.
Well, people always complain that Formula One's just a parade. No, it was a good race.
Max took the lead back from Lando on lap 4. And then 2 laps later, Oscar was able to make the move stick on Charles and lock down that third position. At this point, Esteban Ocon got a 5-second penalty for forcing Lance Stroll off track. We only saw this one time. I didn't see enough to comment on what I thought on the penalty. I would like to see a couple more replays, so I'll just hold off on that.
I don't even remember it happening.
Yeah, it was Ocon was on the inside going into a left-hand chicane. Stroll was on the outside. Couldn't really tell what happened. They both kind of went off track, but Ocon got the position, and so he got the penalty. So whatever happened,
15th.
They were like 9th and 10th, so it sort of mattered to them, but not really overall for the race. Fernando Alonso got around his little buddy Gabriel Bortoleto in the pits. He closed up real nice on pit entry. going right to the line, a veteran move to save a couple tenths there, and then he had a better pit stop, so he came out in front, but then a couple laps later he had a suspension failure and had to retire the car.
He's on the curbs too hard, man. You could see it. It was what he was right front.
Yeah, he came off the curb, and as soon as he came off it, just sparks, and you could see that
it's like a bolt broke or something, and he was done.
Yeah, so that was unfortunate because he was running like 7th at the time, I think.
And he's old, so
yeah.
it hurts when you have no suspension.
At this point, there's a little second and third, fourth, whatever you want to call, whatever number driver you want to name them, for Red Bull. Little drama. Yuki and Liam, they were racing side by side. Yuki did not leave the space. There was a little side by side contact. Liam was trying to go around the outside, and Yuki just squeezed him off the track. And Liam ended up getting the position, but then the team told him to give it back. I just wanted to note that because neither of us agreed with that. We both thought Liam was there, Yuki pushed him off. It was a fair play for Liam to take the spot.
And in reality, if you're following what Red Bull says, it's a separate team. So how can they give team orders when it's not even really the same team?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Helmut Marko.
That's just goofy.
So, we've done our fair share of criticizing Liam Lawson for some moves he's made, but we're standing up for him now.
Yes.
Don't get pushed around, Liam. That was your position.
It doesn't matter. He's not gonna be in Formula One next year anyway.
Oh, he will be. They're not going to bring anyone up. In the Formula 2 race, the main guy causing chaos was Red Bull's next guy up, Arvid Lindblom. So he's not coming up anytime soon. He caused 3 crashes in 7 laps.
Well, as long as you do it all in one race, it was really only one bad race. Yeah.
Anyways, after that, there's a little pit stop standoff between Max and the McLarens. Max had the lead. His tires, they were actually blistering.
That would be a good band name, Max and the McLarens.
All right, well maybe
it's
some
alliterative.
Post-retirement ideas for Max. I don't know how musically inclined he is.
I know. I bet he can play something.
Maybe Charles can teach him the piano. I don't know.
I see him more as a drummer.
Anyways, his tires were blistering. He was losing a little bit of time to the McLarens, but he didn't want to pit first, just because when there's 2 cars up there, they can play some strategy, and Max has not had the luxury of a teammate up there with him in a couple of years, so it's just been him. He eventually did pit first, and he wanted the hard tires on lap 38. The McLarens stayed out, hoping to extend a little bit and then go on to soft tires just for some offset to try to catch up, because Max had a low downforce wing, and it looked pretty crazy.
Which he chose. He had a lot of input in picking what the settings were and what wings.
Yeah, I saw the 2 cars compared, and you could see the angle of his wing compared to Yuki's. It was a noticeable difference.
Yeah. Because he can drive.
Yeah. If you trust the car, you trust yourself to drive it. It was a good move. It paid off.
It sure did.
At this point, there was another incident we need to talk about with the stewards. Between Carlos Sainz and Ali Behrman, they were both in the points. I think they were 8th and 9th at the time.
Now, didn't Carlos Sainz have issues last week too?
He did. They gave him a terrible penalty last week. It looked like a makeup call this week, because he went around the outside of Ali Behrman into a chicane. He wasn't clear. He took the corner like Ali wasn't there, and spun himself and spun Ali. It looked... I probably would have called it a racing incident. I would have put the blame on Carlos, but said, he got enough penalty by spinning himself. It really looked like he just misjudged it a little bit, took the corner just a little too much, and didn't really know where that other car was. So I would have said no action. The stewards, following their precedent, they gave Ali a 10-second penalty and 2 penalty points on his license.
They did give him 2 penalty points?
Yeah, because now he's got 10, so he's 2 away from a race ban. Which, I don't get it. So you make a really bad mistake one week, and then you do it again this week.
With the same driver involved.
So I guess if you're Ollie Behrman, you know, you have a target in mind next week because you get a free pass now. They're just gonna let him.
Yeah, they'll just call it on the next guy. You know, they need to let racers race and let what happens on the track happen on the track, unless it's some egregious bullshit. But this is 2 weeks in a row that dudes in suits got involved, and it really didn't change anything in the race that mattered. But just shut up and let them race.
Wise words. Let them race.
Shut up and let them race. We should get T-shirts made.
At this point, McLaren finally called both cars in. They called Oscar in first, actually, to cover off any threat from Charles. They told Lando that there would be no undercut, so he wouldn't have to worry about that. But then it was a really bad pit stop for Lando. The left front tire was real slow. It was like a 5-second pit stop.
Now, I heard that they used Joseph Newgarden's left front tire changer just for this race, and that's what happened.
That is not what happened.
Oh.
I don't know what happened, but it was a 5-second pit stop, which is an eternity in Formula One, and that got Oscar past Lando, and then there were some team orders. They told Oscar to give the spot back. He was a little upset, but he did it. They brought up Hungary from last year, where Lando had to give him the win and was not happy about it. It was a moment that could have been.
Do.
Yeah, I'm glad that he did it. McLaren did put themselves in kind of a tough situation by letting that happen. But I think both drivers are okay coming out of that.
Max was amused by it.
Yeah, in the car, GP was telling Max, and Max laughed. He's like, oh, he just had a bad pit stop.
Max is funny the more I listen to him. I always just thought he was a good racer, but he's an amusing fellow.
He is. He ended up winning by 19 seconds. Lando finished second, and Oscar rounded out the podium. On the last lap, we didn't see what happened, but Kimi got a 5-second penalty for driving erratically, and that promoted Bortoleto to 8th place. Dropped Kimi down to 9th. We never saw what happened there, if he really was driving erratically or if it was another steward's decision. So, and the last notable thing, this was the fastest Formula One race ever. It was like an hour and 13 minutes. The average speed was 155 miles an hour.
Now, I want to bring up a little something. What's that guy's name? Not Muhammad, the next guy down in charge. Like Stefano Domicelli or something?
Oh, Stefano Domenicali?
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
So, in an interview last week, he was saying that perhaps they should look at shortening Formula One races because the younger generation doesn't have that long of attention span. And then the next race that happens is an hour and 13 minutes. Okay, if people can watch 4-hour-long frickin' NASCAR races, you can't watch an hour and 13-minute Formula One race? I just thought that was stupid when he said it, and then it was just perfect timing that we have the fastest race they've ever had in Formula One. So you have no comment on that. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. The Unnamed Cup Series at Worldwide Technology Raceway in Illinois. Denny Hamlin was on the pole again. That's 2 poles in a row for the old man. And he led the first 8 laps before Kyle Larson got by him for the lead. Then we had a caution for Kyle Busch spinning himself out.
Is that a new tradition?
I
Just
don't know,
the Kyle
man.
Busch spin?
It's so hard. I love Kyle, but this just ain't working.
Think he's lost it? Or?
I think he's... You know, there's a graph, and it's your age and your reaction times and all, and I think that he's past the little crossy thing in the graph.
Think you should just focus on Brexton now?
He probably should. I don't think he should have sold the truck team. I think he should have retired when he left Gibbs, and he could own the truck team and keep developing his son, who is turning out to be a pretty good racer, and be a dad, because being a race car driver is not working anymore for old Kyle. Anyhow, alternate pit strategies. We got some alternate pit strategies going on. 5 or 6 of the top 20 cars did not pit, including Hamlin up in second. So Hamlin led the restart, and they ran about a lap before Chase Briscoe got it away from him. Then there was another caution, this time for Josh Berry. He's doing the same thing. But he finished last week, and now he wrecks out of the race here. So it's been a rough 2 weeks for Josh Berry, who didn't really belong in the playoffs anyway, but he sure the hell has no chance now. Well, no, wait. He can win and make it through the next round.
And next week is Bristol. That's a short track for him.
Yeah, he's not going to win. Anyhow, it's been a rough 2 weeks for Josh Berry. I like the guy. I love the Wood brothers. It's just not happening. So there are 2 laps to go. Briscoe led and won stage 1. Kyle Larson grabbed the lead to start stage 2. There's a caution about 10 laps in when 3 wide went bad and Daniel Suarez smacked the wall. Restart, Larson continued to lead until there was some Dylan on Dylan crime back in around 30th, 31st place. They're brothers, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder if they fought when they were little kids.
Probably. They're from Texas.
I suppose.
They're always wearing cowboy hats everywhere.
Maybe they fought after the race, too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because they crashed. Anyhow, so about half the cars pitted then on these different pit strategies. Everybody was just switching things up, which ended up giving Bubba Wallace the lead on the restart. Wallace was fast in clean air, built up like a 3-second lead until the little bit of controversy we had in NASCAR this week. Kyle Larson ran out of talent and just drove up, pushed up into Ryan Blaney. He driver doored him basically with his right front and spun him out of the top 5. All the Larson haters were pretty noisy, but
I mean, if you look at, since the disastrous double, we'll call it.
Yeah,
he's not been the same Kyle Larson. It's like he lost his confidence.
It's because he screwed up. He screwed up at Indy. He downshifted when he shouldn't have, and that's when he spun and ruined his race. And yeah, it got in his head. I love guys doing the double, and I love that Kyle Larson was doing it because I feel like he's somebody who could have won it, but it did. You are 100% right. It screwed up his head because he has been shit since then.
So what he needs is like some old retired driver coach, and they'll have like an off-season thing, and he'll be resurgent next year. They'll make a movie about it. It'll be a bestseller.
I don't know if he's doing that bad. He's like top 4 in NASCAR still. Anyhow, so Bubba Wallace, he continued to lead after the restart and won stage 2. Bubba still led the start stage 3, but we got slowed down right away again for some more debris. Denny Hamlin grabbed the lead on the restart and led until they finally had their first green flag pit cycle late in the 3rd stage. And then there was a yellow again with 32 laps to go when Ty Dillon decided, hey, I need more TV time, and hit the wall. Restart with 24 to go. Hamlin was still in the lead, and he never looked back. Denny Hamlin won, and you know what he did? He beat your favorite driver. Get it? Remember? Denny Hamlin likes to say that. So Denny Hamlin beat your favorite driver. Josh Berry is like 61 points back already. It's kind of funny. And that was NASCAR.
Moving on, we're going to Texas. The World Endurance Championship was back after like a month off.
Now I'm going to say something before Jim here even talks. This kid right here, He is dedicated to you, the listener. He sat there. He watched this entire 6-hour race. How much of it was under caution to start? They started the race under caution because there was so much rain that it was coming up over the front ends. There was so much standing water over the front ends of the hypercars.
They were plowing through the water.
It was impossible to drive. What, 2 hours you sat
pretty
there?
Close to it, yeah.
And watched cars driving around under the yellow flag in the rain because he wants to talk about it for you, our 7 or 8 viewers.
Well, and also the World Endurance Championship has had some really good racing this year. They've had good car count. They just do the 2 classes, Hypercar and GT, and they have 18 of each for an even class split. And they have a rule where each manufacturer gets two cars, so you've got 9 manufacturers in each class. So it's been really good racing, especially with the balance of performance. It's been dialed in. Unless you're a big Toyota fan, it's been pretty even for each team. The joke with Toyota is they haven't had the results, but they keep getting an extra 20 kilograms added to their car for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. Anyways, it was a Ferrari front row in the hypercar and Ford for the GT. So those cars were looking good in qualifying. Yeah, it was a really wet start. They drove around behind the safety car for an hour and 50 minutes. There were some issues under the safety car. The Lexus of Pedro Umberescu, who won the last race in Brazil, had to box because his headlights weren't working. And so they made him fix that, and he went 3 or 4 laps down. The BMW hypercar of Rene Rast stopped on track with some sort of problem, maybe electrical, we're not sure. But he was out of the race while it was still under caution. And then there was a Mercedes electrical issue, and they had to go and fix that. So 3 different issues before the race started.
But wait, wasn't there another issue?
There was a red flag after an hour. The clock keeps going in a red flag since it is a timed race. It was kind of funny. They had to switch safety cars to fuel the first one, but they didn't really communicate to the drivers what was happening. So half of them followed the safety car into the pits and half of them didn't. So then everybody was all out of position, and they had to red flag it just to reorganize the cars. And then by that time, the standing water was collecting on the track since the cars were no longer circulating. So then they just waited until the rain lessened a little bit.
So the pace car was out there so long, it ran out of gas.
Yeah. And then once we got started racing, we weren't racing for long. We got 2 laps in, and then a couple hypercars had problems. One of the Alpines went hard into the wall, and one of the Valkyries went off at the same spot, but was able to keep it clean. They both just aquaplaned in a fast right-hand corner. There was no grip. And the hypercars, they're really good in the drive, but they struggle a lot in the rain, which it makes it exciting. A little too exciting for the drivers of those cars. They were both able to get back to the pits. The Alpine had some damage and went a couple laps down, but was able to continue. So after the green flag came back out, we had a battle for the lead between 2 Ferraris. Phil Hansen had it in the 83. That's the yellow customer Ferrari.
Phil Hansen?
Yeah.
That name sounds American. He should be in a Cadillac.
He's British.
Okay. Well, it's close to American.
He had a big slide. He was able to save it, but then at that point he just let James Collado go in the chasing Ferrari because the lead wasn't worth wrecking at that point. Just barely into the start of the race. At this point, the Proton Porsche, that's the customer car, the white and green one, went off track from 5th place and got stuck in the gravel. With how much rain there was no getting out of the gravel once you got in it. So there was a virtual safety car and then a full safety car to extract him from the gravel. Antonio Giovinazzi led the field to green.
Hey, that's a Formula One name.
Yeah, he drives a Ferrari. And he settled into the lead with the Porsche Penske car right behind him. In the GT field, it was the Proton Ford, which had been on pole position, and then both McLarens had moved up early and were running 2nd and 3rd. And then there's another safety car for the Toyota of Jose Maria Lopez, who was subbing for, I forget who, I think it was Mike Conway, had a bike crash or something and broke his leg or something. So Jose Maria Lopez was subbing for him and got stuck in the gravel. So not good for the Toyota team. There's another safety car to get them out. During the safety car, the Corvette of Ben Keating, in his home race, they said he had like 300 friends there. His car stopped on track, had a fuel pressure issue, so that was less than ideal for him.
That's a bummer. He's an old guy, right?
Yeah. And he's good too. Good in the GTs. Does a lot of IMSA racing. It's probably where you're familiar with him.
He's got like a chain of car dealerships or something down there, doesn't
he? Yeah. Yep. He's a big car dealer down in Texas. Since they were at Circuit of the Americas, that was his home race.
That's a bummer.
Another bummer, the Cadillac of Sebastian Bourdais had to box to get a new windshield wiper. His windshield wiper fell off, and as it was raining torrentially, that was a necessary component of the car. At the next restart, Kevin Estra got in the Porsche Penske and took the lead immediately from Alessandro Pierguidi, who was driving a Ferrari, as you might have guessed.
As it should be.
Pierguidi got a left front puncture in turn 1, and he was able to limp it back to the pits. Ended up in 13th in class after pitting, so that ruined his chances at the win. There was a really good battle for 4th place between a Ferrari, a Cadillac, and an Aston Martin. 3-car battle for 4th place. It was pretty good. You would have enjoyed it, especially because your Cadillac was doing well.
Yeah, Cadillac.
Kevin Estra, he's unequaled in the rain. In the World Endurance Championship, he's got to be the best rain driver. 5 laps after the green, he had pulled out a 10-second advantage over second place, so he was 2 seconds a lap faster than everyone else. He was just in another league. It was really fun to watch. I like rain races because you really see who was the best driver, and Kevin Estra is the best driver in my opinion.
I think he's probably up there in the dry too.
Yeah, he is. There was another caution. One of the Lexus cars got a little too much curb and smacked the wall pretty hard. Wasn't able to get it going again. But right before the safety car came out, which this is the thing that's interesting about WEC, there's a countdown to when the safety car is. If it's not like an immediate issue, but they know they will have to call a safety car out, they'll say 15 seconds to safety car and then have a countdown for each of the drivers so they know when they need to slow down. And Alex Lynn in the Cadillac was able to pass a Ferrari and a Porsche to take 3rd place right before the safety car. So really heads up driving from him.
What, did they slow down thinking it was a safety car and he just kept going?
I think they did. He timed it just right. They must have slowed down with 3 or 4 seconds left, and he was able to make the move and slow down just in time.
Interesting.
So a little bit of racecraft from Alex Lynn, who has been in top form this year for Cadillac. He had the win last time out in Brazil. There was another safety car for a Mercedes, which was involved with a little incident with one of the Mustangs. Had a wheel out of alignment, wasn't able to drive it back. Just a real short safety car, that one was. In the final hour, the track finally started drying a little bit. It was still wet, though. Still needed wet tires. A couple hypercars towards the back of the field went on dries, but they were actually slower than the GT cars.
Yeah, that's when I started watching it. That wasn't the right move.
No, it was too early for the hypercars. At this point, sad news. I was enjoying... The Valkyries were doing really well. They were both running in the top 8 all day. Harry Tinknell was in 4th place, came in for his final pit stop, and the next lap he came in again. And when I didn't know why he came in again, and on the way out, the engine cut out and he couldn't get it started again, and he retired. And then there was a safety car to get him back, and the other Valkyrie retired during that safety car. So they were running like 4th and 7th, and then with a half hour left, they both were out of the race.
I feel sorry for your Aston Martins.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. It was their best showing yet. They were really competitive. They could run with anyone.
With that naturally aspirated V12, right?
Yeah. After that, the final green flag waved with 26 minutes to go. Kevin Nestra again was in the lead and just ran away. But then there was an exciting battle in the GTs. You had both Mustangs up there. They were in first and third, with championship leader Richard Leitz of Manthe Racing Porsche splitting them in second place. You had Peugeot. They were up into third and fourth now overall in hypercar.
That's funny to see a Peugeot doing anything good, and I have to say I love the look of that car.
They were chasing down a Ferrari for second place. It was surprising, but they really turned it on as the track was drying. Car must have been set up right for that condition. So well done to that team for getting that right. Stoffel Van Dorn was able to get one of those Peugeots into second place on the pit stop. Was able to get ahead of Miguel Molina, and then he tried to hold them off in the closing laps. There was some good battling. Molina did get around him and took second place back. Back to the GTs, you had the lead Mustang and Porsche, within a second of each other, but they were both on wet tires. And there were some GTs which had gone to dry tires. And this is where the crossover happened. And it was instant and it was effective. Because David Ragone in the Ferrari restarted in like 7th or 8th. And he had dry tires on. And by this point, he was 6 seconds faster a lap than the leaders.
Wow.
And so he quickly made his way up there and got past him. There's a little bit of contact on the pass for the lead, which we'll talk about later. It didn't seem like very much at the time. It was just a little impatient from Ragone, maybe not judging how slow the car in front of him would get on the gas coming out of the corner. But he backed out of it and then took the spot at the next turn. So I thought it was all right.
So he gave him the spot back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was fair racing. It was a little argy-bargy, but nothing egregious. And then, so he took the lead. A McLaren took second place. BMW moved into third. They were also on the dry tires. The Iron Dames had been having a pretty good race. They've had to retire with 2 minutes to go. So that sucks for them.
Overheating.
To make it that long and then 1 lap left.
They had some debris get sucked up into one of the cooling ducts, and you don't want to blow the motor up.
Yeah.
Things are expensive, so they pulled off with 2 minutes left.
And then the end of the race, the GT winner, or would-be winner, Ferrari, was penalized. They got a 5-second penalty for that earlier contact when they took the lead. That was a penalty applied post-race. So I actually turned the race off and then found out about it on Instagram later. But they dropped down to third place, which promoted the McLaren into the GT win and the BMW into second. Overall, Kevin Nestra brought it home pretty effortlessly for Porsche Penske. Ferrari got second place, and Peugeot with the podium. Peugeot finished third and fourth, actually.
Peugeot's going to get bopped, aren't they?
I don't know. They might not. There's only 2 races left. We'll see. But so the winning drivers for Porsche Penske were Kevin Estra, Lawrence Vanthoor, and Matt Campbell. And for that GT McLaren, it was Marino Sato, Sean Galale, and Darren Leon. So well done to all those drivers.
So how do you feel about a win being taken away after the race?
Well, I mean, it wasn't that long. It was like 5 minutes after. The contact happened with like 4 minutes left in the race. So, I mean, I'm glad they didn't rush the decision. You don't want a decision like that to happen immediately when it's going to affect the race result like that. I didn't see enough to qualify for a penalty there. But I'm also not too familiar with the precedent that the WEC stewards have set. So I guess I really can't say what I think about that.
Okay.
I don't have enough information to make a judgment.
All right. Got anything else?
That's all for me for this week, and I don't have any races next week.
There's one thing I have to say. IndyCar. Rinus VeeKay announced that he is no longer driving for. Who was he driving for?
Dale Coyne.
Was it?
I think it was. Because he was teammates with Jacob Abel, right?
I don't know. Anyhow.
Well, either way, Rinus VeeKay is not IndyCar. He is OutdyCar.
He is OutdyCar. It was his decision. So everyone assumed that he would be signing in one of the empty seats. And as of yet, there's been no announcement. So I don't know if he thought his stock was higher than it was, and he figured he'd bail on the team that gave him a shot when he had no ride lined up for this past season. Bailed on them, so there'd be a bidding war for Rinus VeeKay. I don't know, but it's kind of funny because it's been a week now, and he still doesn't have a ride.
So if anyone's watching from Hoopdorf in the Netherlands, see if you can find Rinus VeeKay and ask him what he's doing next year.
Because he doesn't have a ride yet. So next week, actually yes, this week, but we'll be talking about it next week. It's all 3 NASCAR series at Bristol. Odd times. We've got the trucks on Thursday night, Xfinity on Friday, and the unnamed Cup Series on Saturday night. So I like night races. I don't like Thursday night races, especially when the Green Bay Packers are playing at the exact same time. So I might have you watch the truck race. So you may get to report on the truck race. I know you're excited because you love Roundy Round and you love fenders.
Great fun.
So that's all we've got, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks.